rise, please. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. Welcome, especially to all our guests and our local law enforcement. How you doing? Good to see you all here tonight. I'm going to turn the agenda over to Chief Logan for a few minutes, and I'm coming up too because that's what I do as Director of Public Safety. Okay. This pile first, and these guys. Okay. It's all very systematic.
Can't see. I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight to take an opportunity to recognize quite a few officers, both from our department and the Plumstead Township Police Department. Back in late April and beginning of May, over an 8-day span, we had two pretty significant cases in the township. The first one we'll recognize involved the burglary, and the second one was an armed robbery. The armed robbery had to do with narcotics and juveniles and weapons. It's not often we can get together, and I'd just like to thank every one of them that's here publicly, even whether or not they're receiving the award tonight. We do appreciate your service, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Board of Supervisors. We thank all of you, including our clerks are here, Steve White, the prior Chief of Police, Chief Ossenauer from Plumstead Township's here as well. I see retired Sergeant Rose in the back. Thank you for coming tonight. But the first commendation tonight is for a series of 6 officers, 3 from Doylestown Township and 3 from Plumstead Township. And this is the Department Commendation Award. I'll read the statement and the certificate which you'll receive tonight, as well as your commendation to be used on your uniform if you so choose. Whereas, on April 28, 2018, the Doylestown Township Police Department investigated a commercial burglary at the Fon Hill Castle located in the 500 block of East Court Street in Doylestown Township. During the commission of the burglary, the male actor gained access to the building and was apprehended while still inside the building. Whereas the members of the Doylestown Township Police Department and the Plumstead Township are committed to safeguarding the quality of life of the residents of Doylestown Township. Whereas the members of the Doylestown Township Police Department, namely Sergeant Justin Noda Francesco, Officer Jeffrey Stitch, Officer Joseph Zucchero, along with members of the Plumstead Township Police Department, namely Corporal Michael Johnson, Officer Robert Lawn, and Officer Mark Snyder, were working during the commission of the burglary. Whereas the members of the Doylestown Police Department promptly responded to the scene, established a perimeter, and officers used their training and equipment to conduct a nighttime search of a building that had minimum lighting and an unusual floor plan. Officers safely navigated the building while conducting the search, while maintaining a perimeter, which ultimately led to the arrest of the actor, who is located in the basement area of the building. Therefore, the members of the Doylestown Township Police Department and members of the Plumstead Township Police Department, through their diligence, alertness, professional skill, which culminated in the timely arrest of a burglary suspect, are formally recognized for the dedication to public safety and continued support of the mission of the Doylestown Township Police Department and the residents of Doylestown Township this 5th day of June 2018. Now I'm going to call each one of you out individually. Come up and please receive your certificate from Barbara and your award. First, Sergeant Justin Noda Francesco. Officer Jeffrey Stitch. Officer Joseph Zucchero. And from the Plumstead Township Police Department, former Doylestown Township Sergeant Corporal Michael Johnson. Officer Robert Lawn. Finally, Officer Mark Snyder. Thank you, guys. All right, the next award that's going to be presented is to 9 Doylestown Township police officers that came together for one incident on Sunday, May 6th. It seems like Sunday around here is not a good day. Father's Day one year, this is another day. I'd also like to, although Lieutenant O'Connor is not receiving an award tonight, Lieutenant O'Connor was here overseeing the entire operation. I wasn't available to come in for a number of reasons, but I thank Lieutenant for coming in and handle it. Anytime you have 9 guys from your police department coming in, you know that stuff's going on, and it's a great to see that these guys came in, pulled the resources together, and were able to do what they did that night. Once I get in, we arrested 4 people. They were all juveniles. It doesn't sound, but they were all armed with something, whether it be a knife, pellet gun, or something. It was drug-related, and it was an armed robbery. 2 of the juveniles, they're still in the court system, and 2 of them are being charged as adults. Shows the seriousness of the crime. All right, but this is a Department Unit Section citation. Whereas on Sunday, May 6, 2018, the Doylestown Township Police Department investigated a strong armed robbery that occurred in the rear of the Chestnut Grove Condominium Association in the 2400 block of Lower State Road in Doylestown Township. During the commission of the strong armed robbery, in which knives and firearms were displayed by 4 male actors who stole $80 in U.S. currency from a victim before fleeing an area on foot. The members of the Doylestown Township Police Department are committed to safeguarding the quality of life to Doylestown Township residents. Whereas the members of the Doylestown Township Police Department, namely Sergeant Donald R. Lawson, Officer Jessica Whiteside, Officer Daniel Naftalin, Officer Jeffrey Stitch, Officer Stephen Pikash, Sergeant Robert Jones, Officer Patrick Furlong, Detective Corporal Chris Power, and Detective Anthony Breslau, comprised 4 highly dedicated units that were working during the commission of the crime and came together. Whereas the members of the Doylestown Township Police Department promptly responded to the scene, established a perimeter, coordinated the search of the vicinity, directed and controlled units from multiple surrounding jurisdictions while conducting multiple interviews and coordinating arrest activities. Their quick response and coordinated effort directly resulted in the capture of 4 actors within hours of the robbery at 4 different locations. Whereas the members of the Doylestown Township Police Department's efforts effectively determined the identities of the 4 individuals and coordinated... Yeah, I did that. Sorry. Therefore, these members of the Doylestown Township Police Department are formally recognized for their dedication to public safety and continued support of the mission of the Doylestown Township Police Department this 5th day of June 2018. Again, I'll call you up individually to receive your award. Sergeant Donald R. Lawson. Officer Jessica Whiteside. The new guy, Officer Daniel Naftalin. Again, Officer Jeffrey Stitch had a busy 8 days. Officer Stephen Pikash. Sergeant Robert Scott Jones. Officer Patrick Furlong. Detective Corporal Chris Power. And the last, but who could not be present tonight due to an out-of-state vacation, Detective Anthony Breslau.
We're so proud of you all. Thank you. Thank you for your service, your diligence, and your coordination with Plumstead Township's finest. Thanks for being here, Chief. Thank you for coming in. You're all welcome to stay for our wonderful meeting. Let me know if you want to go and celebrate with your families. Allie, thank you for coming. Ms. Allie Furlong.
Yeah. Couple.
Double wide. So many police officers.
Somebody get promoted or leave?
Okay, not done with commendations. Where do you put this? Right? Are we on to the next one?
You're on to 2.
Project Hero, Ride to Discovery.
We should have had him stay.
Jeff
I did
here?
him.
Is this guy here?
It'll give me a
Okay.
reason to.
Who's doing the recognition for Memorial Day? Hi. Thanks so much for coming. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Nobody loves us.
The next presentation is from, well, Ann, if you'd like to say something, but it's to the Public Works Department. Ann, do you want to take the podium and say anything? Please? It's all yours.
Oh, I feel like I scared everybody out of here. My name's Ann Woodbury, and I'm on the Bicentennial Committee, and I was responsible for the Memorial Day float in our Memorial Day parade in Doylestown. And I was very lucky to have the assistance of a lot of people. It doesn't take a village, it takes a whole township to do this, apparently. And many people on this dais helped. Dave Tomko, Stephanie Mason, Barbara Lyons, on the float were, again, Barbara Lyons, Jen Herring, and Ken Snyder. But a lot of it came down to I really needed some help with construction, not something that I excel at. And Paul Garr was terrific. Barbara set me up with an interview with him, and he couldn't have been more gracious or more helpful. And especially 4 of his folks were very helpful. Krista Turk, Rudy Getter, and Anthony Pescator, and Dan Markloff helped with Dave Tomko doing the tow vehicle. So we looked pretty snazzy in the parade, but the only reason we could get there was because of Paul.
Ann, would you like to make this presentation?
Certainly. We have a certificate of appreciation. This is awarded to Doylestown Township's Public Works Department for your dedicated efforts and support in creating the Bicentennial Float. Yay! Awarded on this day of June 5, 2018. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you very much. It was our pleasure.
You guys were amazing. His grandson. Could I ask the board's indulgence that I could read the names of the 8 people, township residents, who also volunteered for the decorating? There's a lot of Bicentennial folks and other people that are employed by the township that helped, and I can't thank you enough for that. But I wanted to, and I've thanked all these people privately, but I wanted to put their names out publicly, that they were really wonderful. I have to be the luckiest person in the world to have this team of volunteers. They came in on time, ready to go, did anything I asked, problem solved, came up with creative solutions. They were great. So they include Stacy Miller, Jan Solkoff, Karen Young, Sandy Dubois, Sagita Patel, Nikki Trottier, and Lodina Slowecki and her son Glenn Slowecki. And I thought, oh, a 12-year-old. But I'll tell you what, it was so helpful to have somebody young and nimble that could get up and do the top of the cake. So it was wonderful. So those are township residents that really, really went above and beyond. And thank you.
Yeah, well, let me just say one wonderful thing, you can sit down, about Ann Woodbury has been an active, vital member of the Bicentennial Committee. She came up with a concept, she did a little scale of what the float would look like, and sure enough, Public Works somehow made the superstructure happen, and then 2 weekends, 2 Saturdays, Ann and her team, Stephanie, and we all got out there and climbed ladders and made this happen, and it was, as I said a bunch of times, on Memorial Day at the parade, this is the best float ever! And it was, and everybody applauded, and it really was the best float ever. So thank you so much, and thank you, Paul, and your guys. They were awesome to work with.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you.
Good job, Paul.
Good job, Paul. Thank you.
Good job, Ann. Thank you.
It was one big happy time, I'll tell you. It was really cool. First time I was ever on a float. They asked me much times before if I would do Miss America and all that, and I said, nah, that's not my style. Okay, there we go. Visitors and public comments?
Or do you want to go back to project?
Is he here?
I'm not sure. Jeff, I don't know who Jeff, Oliveri? No?
Oliveria? Nope, let's pass on. Maybe he'll come next time. Any visitors or public comment? All right, announcements. We're next meeting on June 19th at 5 p.m. We're going to hold a budget session meeting on Tuesday, June 19th at 3 p.m. Everything is here, by the way. The Pension Advisory Committee, and I do believe this is their inaugural meeting, is June 11th at 4 p.m. here. It's open to the public. You're encouraged to attend. The Bicentennial memorabilia is for sale, Mercer tiles, T-shirts, bricks, legacy oak trees to be planted in the township. Discount park and movie tickets are available, and you can get those online. The Thompson Performing Arts Series continues with the Fabulous Grease Band. It says in the agenda it's on Friday, but it's actually Wednesday, June 20th, starting at 7 p.m. Leaf and Yard Waste Recycling is the third Saturday of each month, 9 a.m. to 11. And Household Hazardous Waste Collection, Saturday, June 23rd, at Sunchbuck South High School. It doesn't say what time. The other thing that's happening, and I want to everyone put it in their calendars for the future, July 14th at 1 p.m., I do believe. July 14th is the bicentennial celebration with the Oscar Hammerstein Sing. It's at the Oscar Hammerstein Estate on East Road, and then it's on, like I said, Saturday, July 14th, starting at 11:30, and our big party is the next day, July 15th. The fireworks starting at 7:30. Big band, I think it's Big Romeo. Big Romeo, big band, big party, Doylestown Township's bicentennial celebration with fireworks, July 15th. So I wanted to get those out there for your future calendars. All right, moving on to the agenda, minutes approval from the May 1st, 2018 meeting. Everyone has their minutes in their, well, received it in your packet?
Yes.
Everyone had a chance to review them.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve them?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Any changes, corrections? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Correspondence, fee waiver request from the Bucks County Food Shed Alliance. A letter from the person who's a director to us regarding a waiver of fees that would total about $200. What do you guys think?
I make a motion, we waive the fees for the Food Shed Alliance.
Second.
Okay, just in interest of full disclosure, I happen to know that one of the members of this board is married to our zoning officer, Sinclair Salisbury. So I think we should know that. Everyone's okay with that? Okay. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. What else? Permit fee, we did that. The Covered Bridge celebration, Pine Valley Covered Bridge on June 23rd, 2018. We've all got notice of that. do we need to do anything about this?
No,
They
I
want to
think
close our road
they're
at
going to
some
close
point?
the road for a short period of time. This is a celebration of the bridge. It's 175th. These are certainly big years for us. It's 200. This bridge is 175. The recent Memorial Day parade was 150. So lots to
getting old.
celebrate. Yeah, our community is
Starting to gray.
Starting to gray, yes. But anyway, just want to let you know about the event. It should be a wonderful day. It's from 4 p.m. to dark, and they're going to have fireworks and live music and food trucks, and so I'd really encourage everyone to attend. And so obviously, if any of the board members are going to be there at that time, please let me know so I can let New Britain Borough know in case they are doing any recognitions. I want to make sure that you're identified.
Was there any township roads that need to be closed to
Part of
support that?
Mystic.
Part of Mystic.
Part of
Yes.
Mystic,
Yeah.
so, okay,
Yeah, we're fine.
okay.
Yeah, they'll coordinate, right?
Yeah, they've already
Okay.
begun to coordinate through
Good,
their
thank you.
police and our police and everything.
Okay, thanks, Steph. Unfortunately, Mr. Gaver, who a longtime volunteer and former member of this board, is moving away. So he has to resign, he's resigning from the zoning hearing board, so we must let him go to Shippensburg or wherever he's going, whatever S-town he's moving to. So is there a motion to accept his resignation?
I'll move to accept.
Thank you.
I'll second in and make a comment. I agree with you. I echo the sentiments. I mean, Rick, for many, many years, a hardworking, dedicated resident, and many years as a supervisor, as Barbara mentioned, and many years on the zoning hearing board. And he was just a dedicated resident. He was everywhere, and surely going to miss him, and I'm going to miss him also, so I wish him the best, but got to move on in life.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Send him a letter of thanks and...
Absolutely.
All right, reports from the solicitor.
Nothing we won't discuss later in the agenda, Madam Chairperson.
Chief?
Just a quick update with the Central Bucks police chiefs that comprise the Central Bucks School District had met again since our last meeting. May 17th, our next meeting is scheduled for June 21st with the school district and the school resource officer stuff. So we're continuing to meet. I guess the school district's theory is they want to see it go through, and I guess they're just trying to finalize funding and stuff like that, where it's coming from. So,
Okay, thanks.
but that's just ongoing. We're going to meet, we're going to probably continue to meet well into these, if the school resource officer gets up and running, we'll continue to meet periodically.
And the 9 municipalities and the managers are continuing to meet as well.
Right.
So we're coordinating efforts there.
I saw some in the, I guess in the paper that they changed their entrance procedures.
Yes,
Yeah?
yeah.
I could talk on that. I can speak on that.
Pardon me?
I
It's
can
all
speak
good.
on that.
Oh, okay.
I can-
It's all good, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Chief. Anything else?
That's all.
Township Engineer?
Nothing this evening.
Director of Operations?
2018 tree pruning and takedown award recommendation. On May 31st, 2018, we received and electronically opened 5 bids for the contract to tree prune and take down for this year. Based on what the received bids, the lowest responsible bidder is Jimmy's Trees and Landscape Contractors. I recommend that the board award the contract to Jimmy Tree Landscape Contractors for the base bid amount of $34,325. And additionally, the alternate number 1 for $22,500, alternate number 2 for $400, and alternate number 3 for $5,400, totaling $62,625.
Okay. Everyone's had a chance to review all 5 of the bids. Is there a motion to approve the low bid?
I make a motion we approve Jimmy's Landscaping and low bid on the project.
And that's Jimmy's Tree. and
Jimmy's
Landscaping.
Tree and Landscaping.
And Landscape Contractors. Yes, thank you. There's a motion. Is there a second?
Question? Do we have any history with Jimmy's Tree?
Yes.
We do.
Yes, we do. We have actually probably a number of bidders we have history with. We've used them for either emergency takedowns or they've been on our contracts before. So yes, we do.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Okay, Jimmy's Tree and Landscape it is. Anything else,
I'm going to
Director
move
of
to the
Operations?
podium if you want to move for a second.
To show and tell?
Yep.
Oh, is this about the thing that we yelled at him about?
No.
Is something else?
You thought Gis had?
Yeah.
And this is big savings.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is our asset management and GIS program. I have a short presentation that I will go through to talk about the process, and then I will ask for a recommendation, make a recommendation for awarding a licensure for 2 items. Basically, GIS Asset Management, the goals. We originally started this project in 2017 to identify our GIS Asset Management needs, and basically we wanted to find a program that basically met our needs, met the budget, was easy to use and easy to implement. Now also, we wanted to conduct and incorporate a road sufficiency analysis program into that GIS program and asset management so that we could basically take kind of the subjectivity of road inspections out of the process, okay? So we wanted to do that. So what is asset management? It's a program basically to manage the infrastructure capital assets and maintain, minimize the total cost of owning, operating, and maintaining our assets. Anything from a park bench to a fire hydrant to a road to a street sign, whatever we consider an asset, you can basically identify in your asset management program and start to track it on many levels, from an inspection process to when it was installed, what its current condition is, and when it needs to be replaced. And then the quick other thing is, what is GIS? That is a graphical information system. So why do we need an asset management program? We need to basically start to replace the human database, and he's sitting right here, okay? As you know, Paul received the commendation. He wears many hats. He's a diplomat, he's a road superintendent, and he's also probably got more information about this township in his head than next to Butch and maybe Mr. John and some different aspects. We will someday lose this asset, and we need to start to take this information and put into a location where we can start to manage it, where we can start to utilize it in a number of different ways and look at it. So that's kind of one of the reasons for this program. So what do we do today? We have basically a permit manager software database. This is utilized by our code and admin department for basically tracking zoning, building permits, our septage management, parcel and land development information from record plans and documentation, building permits and such. We rely on a combination of electronic and paper files and plans to basically track information, okay? We consult with staff like Paul or Butch Froelich in the Parks Department, who's been on staff for I don't know how many years now, 30-plus years.
Well over 35.
Right, so, and he's going to retire this year. We're going to lose him as an asset. And we rely on our professionals like Mario when we talk about when things were done and tracking records and information. And then we also rely on hard copy, paper inspections of reports and work orders. We get requests in for service for someone to do something, and we make a copy of it, we print it out. Paul goes out and does his job, and he writes a note, and then we stick it in a file. And we have a paper copy instead of an electronic copy. So we're looking to try to move things forward here. Okay? Why do we need an asset management continuation here? When implemented, what will change? Basically, we're going to consolidate permit manager and the asset management into one program or one database. We're going to integrate a graphical pavement management system into that, which will also be I'll talk about coming here in a few minutes. And then we're going to modernize, streamline the storage of information process. Long-term goal is also to consolidate all of our mapping. If you go onto our website and you look at our mapping and information, we have a street map, we have a zoning map, bike, hike. They're all in disjointed pieces, okay? We have water information as well. We're trying to bring all that mapping together, and what this really does is it helps us on our customer service end, because we get people who call and ask for information. I'm looking to buy a house in the township, and I want to know, does it have water and sewer? Well, if we have that information on the website, they can first maybe go there. Doesn't mean that we're not going to help them if they call, but it also is another area where they can go to, and they can look, and it helps us in, basically educating the public, and there's, other ways to manage that and use that information, but that's just one of it. There's other municipalities that do this, and they do it well, and I think that we need to start to move this forward, and that's the other reason for it. Vendors evaluated. We evaluated multiple asset software packages and programs. 2017, we went to PSATs, and we talked to a number of vendors, and we started looking at what was available out there. But basically, we met with three. Pannoni Associates, McMahon Associates, who has a program called Tracer, and then CS Davidson, who has a program called CS Datum. And the reason why we're, one of the things about CS Datum is they recently bought Permit Manager. So basically, they bought the code department unit piece of what we use today to manage our code department, and they're in the process of integrating Permit Manager and CS Datum into one program. It's one of the reasons why this is very interesting to us. So the cost breakdown is as follows. Now, the reason why this is a 5-year lookout is because basically the proposal that McMahon, which the Tracer product right here is up there like that, is they're asking for a 5-year licensing agreement, okay? So they basically give us a 5-year licensing agreement, so I basically looked at CS Datum in a 5-year lookout and what the cost would be. So you see that the licensing agreement for the cost is for the 5 years is $18,600. It's around $1,500 a year, $1,600 a year. What they did is they gave us an upfront prorated discount on the licensing, and then they increase it as the years go on. Also, it would be $10,000 for data migration from our existing system, and then some customized reporting would cost us an additional $1,800. This ArcGIS online license is $2,500. That is something that's outside of the Tracer program that we would need to run it. So that is the cost. So you see, look at that's a 1-year cost, and so you see the 5-year cost of $183,800. Okay. Looking ahead and at the CS Datum, it's $2,400 a year. So a 5-year lookout is $12,000. There's no cost for data migration. Confirm that with them today again to make sure that they're not going to charge us for data migration. They really don't have customized reporting. They feel that they have a robust product that they don't need to have customized reporting, and they feel that it's flexible enough that they don't offer that. And that's fine with us. We're okay with that, and we don't need the ArcGIS online licensing because they do not use that as a platform to run their program. Okay, so any questions on the breakdown there?
Yeah. Well, I'm stupid tonight because it's a long day. I see $2,400 a year on this contract here.
Yes.
And I'm looking at $183,800 up there.
Okay. The different company.
What am I? A different
Tracer.
company. You're comparing two companies.
Comparing two different software packages. Correct.
All right. Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, I don't know why you would do that when it's so obviously such a different price.
He's just
This is what you get for
illustrating.
$12,000 as opposed to
He's just illustrating the
$183,000?
different options out there.
Well,
Okay.
And that-
ultimately, we did our due diligence, and we're reporting on what we did, and it's,
Gotcha.
the cost is an obvious factor. Okay, that's an obvious factor.
Yeah, I see that.
The other part of this, there's two components here. One is the permit manager piece.
Correct.
This is the 2,400 is just for the non-permit manager.
Correct.
So the permit manager is how much?
Department manager, I think is, and I apologize on the number, I think it's $1,600 a year,
Okay.
okay? And we currently
So
pay that.
It's 16, so it's 4,000 a year really
Yes.
for the two components.
That's $1,600.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
1,600.
Right, if you were to add those two together, that whole software package.
Yeah.
But they were going to bill, they still would bill separately for whatever reason.
But the
Yes.
other part of this, why this is so important, is the permit manager piece was managed by, or and owned by one guy.
Correct.
And so we were at risk there. And so CS Datum purchased the permit manager piece.
Correct.
So we minimized that risk that if
Correct.
something happened to Corky,
Correct.
went off to Florida and left us alone.
Correct, yes.
Now it's a much more,
Right, and
it's going to
they're-
be a much more robust
And they're
product.
committed to integrating into that
Correct.
package and utilizing that and making that work as one piece, so we have it all together.
Right.
If we were to have used Tracer, we'd have permit manager over here and Tracer over here. They don't talk to each other.
Right. This
That's
is different,
one
yes.
piece to it, okay? Okay.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Sure.
There's a huge difference between these two costs.
Yeah.
First of all, is there a reason why one is so significantly less than the other? And secondly, are there other companies out there that you did price out? Or are these the two main?
The two main, these are the two we looked at. Again, Pannoni provided us for proposal. It missed the mark a little bit, and it wasn't the system we were looking for. And so we're only comparing these two, even though I said we received 3 proposals. There are other companies out there. When we first started the process, we did talk to Tracer, and then we started to try to do some homework, and we tarried a little bit, and then Sinclair, who's our code director, basically said you should talk to CS Datum, and we were going to start to talk to other companies. And we felt Tracer is a robust product. It's got a lot of bells and whistles. The problem, one of the things with Tracer is that is the all in totality package. There are a number of what they call modules. You got to buy the core module, and then if you want a little more functionality, you got to buy the next module, and then the next. So you are kind of adding on to the price if you need more functionality. Okay. So why is the price it is? We'd have to ask them as far as why they're charging so much for their licensing and cost to migrate data. That's just the cost to do business. CS Datum has told us up front, it's $2,400. That's the pricing. There's no cost for migration. I don't, necessarily know that they're looking to try to make money on the licensing. They're trying to provide a service and utilize it, and
Yeah, the other, you're right, David, and the other key component was Tracer or McMahon, they're in the software business. That's what they do. They built this, sell it, that's their business. CS Datum is a group of engineers. They have built tools to make their job easier. So while they sell software, their main thing is to make themselves more productive.
Right.
So this is like a
a
benefit to
byproduct.
them, a byproduct of their enhancements. So that's why it's so cheap, because they're just,
Right.
they do it for themselves, and they're just offering it.
Are the other similar products that you looked at priced more like Tracer or CS Datum?
We didn't get pricing.
Okay.
We didn't get pricing. Again, the key to this is, and again, so next slide is why CS Datum. It's the compatibility with the permit manager. It's with that piece that we basically, because we would have decided, we were headed down 2 tracks. We still had permit manager, and we were looking for another asset management program, and we were going to have to abandon permit manager and have Sinclair move to another software package to migrate over, or we were going to have to migrate over to what Sinclair was doing. And once we found out that CS Datum existed, that was the logical choice, and it just happens to be a great price, okay? And we think that it offers the functionality that we need, and I'll talk about some of this as I go through the further slides. But really the second piece to this right here is probably bigger than we expected. It is the compatibility and what they developed for the MS4 reporting. They basically developed this system so that our contractor, GHD, our engineer who's doing all of our MS4 outfall sampling and doing all that reporting out in the field, can use a tablet and start to compile our inspection reports and build everything in the field. And we have instantaneous access to it, and it's all contained in one location. So in other words, it's a cloud-based system. You can see that at the bottom. Again, a couple of things: cost, easy to use, unlimited users, and unlimited cloud storage. So for $2,400, we have, we get all that functionality, and we're able to start to build that database. And the idea that we have to do all this work internally to build this MS4 report, which is, a binder that's a couple inches thick that we need to submit to DEP every year for our MS4 reports, it's going to basically make our lives easier because it's going to compile all that information in one location. Okay, and they built a very robust system. They actually even said that they had the DEP review this and look at it, and they like it. It's a robust system, and they think that they don't necessarily didn't get approval for it. And I'm looking at Ken because he was at that meeting. I don't think they said they received their approval that it's like any type of certification from DEP, but DEP liked the way they put it together and the way it works to do the reports, and they're correct.
But just to expand a little bit on that, the MS4 reporting, if you looked at the process that you use today to do MS4 reporting compared to how you anticipate using it under CS Datum, what would you see?
Ultimately, what it's going to do, it's going to reduce the compilation of that report. The reports are done, they're filed somewhere, someone basically has them in hand, and then they deliver them to us, and then we take our pieces, which are more of our education pieces. We educate residents who have rain gardens, people and property owners who have BMPs and basins and how to maintain them, restaurant owners and how they are supposed to maintain their grease traps so that they don't, obviously put contaminated water into the sewer system, which eventually potentially could go to our streams. That information, it's going to streamline how we put those reports together, and again, this is built in such a way that you can complete a task, you can inform residents about, their rain gardens. You can upload that document into CS Datum, and it'll reside there, and when you're ready to submit your report, you hit print, and it spits the entire thing out. So we're really saving labor and trying to, where do we put that report? And this is not just like we do this one time, and then we put the report together and we submit it. This is an ongoing yearly process, over and over, and it's
I think we've all reviewed it, and it was great that you got us at PSATs, and we talked to the vendors individually, and of course, getting it in our packet, so we're really familiar with it, and I think gung-ho on it. And I had the same questions that you've heard already here today, but just as what allayed my concerns was, as I asked C.S. Davidson a couple of times, different ways, that this is our data. If we don't like this company a year from now, we just pick up our data and go to anybody else we want. So it's really a year-by-year commitment, which satisfied me. So, I'm willing to I'll make a motion that we go with C.S. Davidson.
I have some problems with the contract itself in principle. I don't have a problem with we doing this, but, the devil's in the details as far as I'm concerned. They have jurisdiction in York County, not in Bucks, minor detail. They have us responsible for any maintaining our security and our account password. I understand that. That's okay. That makes sense. But they can at any time modify or discontinue or temporarily or permanently any part of the service without notice to us. And the prices of all the services are subject to change, and upon 30 days notice from them. So we're stuck to, they can change this, they can change the cost of this, they can change the service, they can change the terms of this. And if we don't object to anything and we continue to use it, we're agreeing to the changes.
Understood, right.
Can we modify the?
Yes, but I'm not going, this in itself is not good. And then there's other parts of it that are not acceptable, at least as far as I'm concerned. Neither, the parties are on the top of page 4 of page 5. It says they're not responsible for any business interruption or loss of business or any other services, and even if the possibility of the loss of business or loss of services was reasonably foreseeable, that's not even the law. So I think this is a pretty harsh contract for us to be entering into. I like the idea of the service, but under these terms, I can't accept them. It's not good business for the township. They have to rework their contract for us.
Oh, well, that's what I was going to suggest.
Right, but
based on reworking the contract.
based on reworking the contract, I'm happy to give them my objections.
Okay.
But like I said, I like the product, but the
Right.
terms of the contract are not
Understood.
acceptable to me.
Yeah.
This is just the lawyer side of my life here.
Well,
course, it's
what is
written,
your,
Further.
what are you
It's
asking
written.
for?
No, written down.
What are you asking
It's
for?
written from their perspective. They're going to have
Right.
everything.
Now he's not quite so sure.
No, they're talking, so I wasn't going to interrupt.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but again, I'm asking for basically approval to execute a contract to
forward.
Moving forward to,
With
with
a
that, yes.
revising and negotiating
Now,
the
we
contract.
can't execute a contract that's not written.
I would say approve the proposal subject to
Correct.
a contract that's acceptable to the Board of Supervisors.
Well, how can you approve a, I'm sorry, I'm not being a wordsmith.
You're approving the proposal subject to a satisfactory contract in accordance with the
That
request.
is the proposal. The contract is the
Well, no, you're not
proposal.
going to, subject to executing a contract. Or you can table it.
What I
Yeah, I
think
wanna-
he's
I-
asking for, I think what I see out of this request is you have two different products.
Yeah, well, we're not going to go with the more expensive one, that's for sure. Is that what you mean?
Well, but if they gave you a good contract, would you accept that versus this? So I'm just suggesting, I would suggest that we have a motion to move forward with looking at this product further. He's asking, can I move forward in this direction and renegotiate and come back with better language on the contract?
Well, we can do that without having any motion. Just do it and come back with a
That's
better,
fine.
with
I
better
mean,
language.
Consensus of the
I guess what I would need is what objections you have, and then recommendations or from Mr. Gardner as to what
I haven't
those
looked at it
changes
yet,
are.
So I don't have any
Right.
comments.
Right.
I'll look at it.
I mean, again, if you've
The
got
other lawyer on the board will look at it.
Right. And if we have recommendations for changes or modifications to the terms, which I know we've done before, and we'll submit them back to CS Davidson, and then we will,
I'm sure, I mean,
Right.
this is pretty draconian, so I'm sure they'll be willing to
Yeah.
modify somewhat
Yeah, that's
to
fine.
protect the township.
No, I agree with everything you're saying. I'm just
Okay.
saying, we just want to give him direction to say, yes, let's.
Yeah, I think in concept,
Yeah.
it's okay, but not the contract that's presented.
And that's fine.
understood.
I got you.
What I would like to ask for is could possibly do as soon as possible. One of the reasons why we brought this forth today is GHD will start their fall testing and sampling in July. So we pretty much have like 45 days to get this kind of hammered out if we can get an agreement and get it approved so we can have GHD to start to use it.
I'll send my suggested terms to, my problems to Mr. Garten
Okay.
tomorrow
You should
morning.
meet your deadline, assuming they're
And-
willing to accommodate.
And I don't delay. I usually 24-hour turnaround always in whatever I do. So he will have my stuff tomorrow, and then what he does with it, it's not going to be hard. I mean,
You'll have it in time to review it with, I can't say that
Before the
CSA will
board.
agree, but certainly you'll have all the
Right, I think
comments
that's-
in a timely fashion.
I think it's more the issue is they're going to have to want to review and see if
yeah,
Absolutely.
they're going to have to agree to the
Right.
terms and conditions is best for the township.
I guess you want me to withdraw my motion.
Well, there was no second to it, was there?
No.
So that's,
So it died.
dies for one of a second
Okay.
anyway. Are you going to stand up here for the next one?
Well, I'm not finished.
he's not
I've got
done
another
yet.
piece, I've got another piece of this.
You do?
So,
Yes.
yes, I do. So, our second piece of this is what's called, what we learned through this process is a company called Robotics.
Oh, here it is, yeah.
Robotics is basically a, assess the surface conditions of the road to identify damage using analytics and basically artificial intelligence. These basically were a bunch of gentlemen and ladies from Carnegie Mellon at the Robotics Institute, and they came up with this idea of taking pictures of the roads, comparing information, and then assessing and rating the road system. Okay? So using a smartphone and artificial intelligence, by just driving the road, they take a picture every 10 feet, and they assess the road condition on a level of 1 to 5. Okay, that is then basically thrown into their graphical information system, and we get a usable database that is objective, and basically we can use to develop and manage our road program system, okay? Our road surface, our paving program, okay? The data can be used yearly to develop what roads we're going to pave. We always get the subjective, wow, this needs to be done versus that needs to be done. This kind of takes this thing out of that a little bit. The cost for this, based on their proposal, which is in your packet, is $5,775 to survey the 77 miles of township roads. Equates to $75 per mile. Okay?
This is per year.
No, this is, right now, this is a
Whenever you do it.
one-time expenditure. We will get the township surveyed. It's going to probably take them about 60 days to get started if you approve their proposal, and then it will take about 30 days for them to do the analysis and return over the data to us. It is graphical, and then out of that, we can mine information, And the recommendation probably is we would look at doing this every 3 years. We develop like a 3-year program, and then we do it again and develop a 3 to 4 year program for this.
Just to make it sure it's clear, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
this is incorporated to see us down.
It's a standalone product.
It's a standalone product.
It's a standalone
but-
product.
But the data goes where?
They have a standalone dashboard. We could, I'm sure that CS Datum can incorporate it into it.
Right.
We haven't specifically talked about, but it is a standalone dashboard.
Yes,
That they have this information that they
And you
provide.
can't be in the car when they do it.
correct.
Yeah, that's what I
But you
don't
could
like
follow them.
You could follow.
The chief will have, hey, the
Follow
call.
them.
This
There are roads,
young
I'll
lady's
follow this
following our
car.
car, every road.
I have similar problems with this contract as proffered, so I won't agree to it tonight.
Okay,
I'll
well,
make
again, the
the
same,
objections.
make the same
And also,
request that-
I mean, the jurisdiction is Allegheny County, which is even worse than York. And then they have some issues with liability for damages and liability of allocation of liability and stuff like that. That's just not normal stuff that we should agree to as a township. It puts all the risk on us in every regard.
Okay,
So I'll make similar comments.
Okay, good.
thank you. Okay.
I mean, if you think we need this, I don't know if we need this. We have we go every year on our little road trip.
No, we don't. We
Yes, we
don't do
do.
this. We don't travel 77 miles a road.
No, I know. We go to miles.
This would look at every 10 feet of road within the township,
need
and
this.
it'll give you,
this.
and again, I can,
No.
and it'll look at it, and it'll rate it, and it'll give us an idea of what the road conditions are, and it's very objective, and, they've got a huge database from,
Okay,
so.
all right. All right,
Okay.
thank you. We'll get the
All right.
terms down.
So that is that piece. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Lower State Road Trail Project, again, I apologize. This memo was supposed to be in the packet, so I will try to summarize it as quickly as I can. We all know the Lower State Road Trail Project, which extends from Wells Road, goes through Del Val College, crosses New Britain Road, goes up along under the 611 bypass and ties into just below the YMCA property. The project was completed earlier this year, and through Mr. Rich Gatens, who is the inspector in charge, works for Pannoni Associates, he did his analysis, and we basically came in under budget. Well, the project came in under budget. This is not our project. This is PennDOT's project. We just happen to be the local sponsors of the project. Okay, but the project came in under budget. Primarily had about $276,000 of extra funds left over, okay? So we met, Stephanie and myself, Mr. Gatens, met with Dan Gleason, who is the PennDOT project manager, also with Kurt Sugars, who also with Pannoni, and the contractor, J.D. Morrissey, Kyle Flanagan, and Bill Greer, to talk about how we could utilize this extra funding. So we came up, and the memo shows here how many additional projects we were proposing to do. One is to repave New Britain Road from the train tracks to the intersection and take the hump out of the road. That has been an issue for a long time, and we can spend PennDOT's money to do it. The second is to install a pedestrian actuated flashing warning device at the intersection of Wells Road and Lower State Road at the existing crosswalk. And the third part is paving Lower State Road, which is, if you've driven that section up there through by the colleges, and is in dire need of being repaved. And also, this would also include inspection. The cost breakdown is at the bottom of my memo. Basically, the cost to pave New Britain Road is estimated at $86,000. Lower State Road and Wells Road flashing warning devices estimated at $60,000. Repaving of Lower State Road is estimated at $83,000, and the inspection proposal, which was submitted by Pannoni, is for $46,706.20. None of this is coming out of our pocket. This is all being paid out of the funds that PennDOT allocated for this project. However, if we don't ask this to be done and move this forward, PennDOT will basically close out the job, and we'll lose $276,000, okay? What I'm asking for basically is the board to do two things. The board needs to approve Pannoni's inspection proposal, which is a separate attachment. It's from Kurt Sugars, and for the $46,706.20. That will come out of the project funds. We just need to approve the proposal amount it'll go through the PennDOT system, through the agreement process, and we'll just basically check a box and say, yes, we agree, and we'll be moving forward.
Stop there. Does
Okay.
everyone understand what he's asking?
Yes.
Is there a motion for same?
For the
For the
46?
46, yeah, for what he's asking for in order to move us along.
I just had one question on it, because when I read the memo that was in our packet, it says the project will be completed in 6 or 7 months, plus 1 month of close activities. Before the project started, there was a supplement to reduce it, blah, blah, blah. We are currently 11 months into the work. So is this $46,000 worth of work already done?
No. Some of it's been done because they've been trying to work order and come up with estimates for the project, but no, they spent if you see the original contract amount of the $85,173, that's what's been spent already,
Right.
okay? They spent that amount of money.
And that was part of the 1.3 million that we had for
Yes.
the TAP grant for the Lower State Road Trail. So
Actually,
the work
yeah.
that was done was associated with the Lower State Road Trail. This is additional funds that are still in the grant that we can expend, and that's, what Dave is recommending. So there's no out-of-pocket expense from the township, correct, Dave?
$4,000.
No, I understand that. I'm just
Right.
trying to understand, they said it would be done in 6 or 7 months.
Right.
And now they're saying they're into the 11th month. So for those 4 additional months, have they been doing work which we owe them money for?
We don't owe them any money, number one. It's semantics, I understand. It seems like you're hung up, I guess you have a question on the schedule. Is that your question?
We need to authorize $46,000 in order to complete this job. Is that what you're saying? And
To
the 40
take the money that's
Yeah.
left over and do other things.
For
Yes.
Pannoni.
For the Pannoni inspection.
But it's not our money, it's part of the grant.
part of the
We're
grant.
just redirecting it, if
Yes.
that's the right word.
Yeah.
Correct.
Part of the grant.
We're not
You
going to have
just
to
need-
make that up from
here-
some other spot, are we? That,
No, see, because we're the project sponsor, we had to advertise and obtain and get an inspector. And because we did that, that then goes through the PennDOT
I
process and they get
understand
paid that way.
I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
I get hung up on, they said it would cost $85,000. Now they're asking for another 46, so they're
Because-
50% off target.
Additional work.
No.
That's what I don't
No,
understand.
okay, that's
Okay.
your question. Let
That's
me
my question.
explain why. Because we're asking for another $276,000.
Support these other 3 items on this
Correct,
list.
yes.
Okay.
Because
Thank you.
PennDOT, you cannot do work on a PennDOT project without an
I got
on-site
you now.
inspector.
I got you now.
Okay.
we didn't
Okay.
have this before.
Right.
And I
I'm fine.
apologize, and again, I'm trying to, I understand working out the details, so,
I understand it. now. Thank
right.
you.
So the motion is, if you want to proceed to spend the additional dollars left from the grant, you have to improve the inspection proposal from Pannoni
Right.
in the amount of $46,000.
Gotcha.
46,700 or
Whatever.
620.
If the project doesn't proceed, you don't owe them any money.
Correct. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
You have a question?
Quick question for you. Item 3, the 60,000, or was it, item 2? Install the pedestrian actuated flashing warning device.
Correct.
Didn't we receive a grant, a separate grant, separate from this, that
Correct.
covered that?
Right.
Okay.
let
So
me
okay, go ahead.
So we received an Arley grant to do 2 pedestrian actuated flashing warning devices, one at 611 and Turk Road, and one here at Lower State Road and Wells Road.
Right.
Okay. Because we have extra money in this project, we can ask that work to be done, and then when we get to our Arley project, we will rescope that project and use that grant money to do something else. And we've had success in doing that before, and so therefore, once we get to that point and get to that agreement, we will ask PennDOT to reallocate that money to be done at a later date.
And Dave, under the Arley grant,
Mm-hmm.
can the engineering associated with that go as part of the Arley grant as well?
Our Arley grant is a reimbursement program, and it's 100% in for engineering and construction. And we've done that, and we've had a couple of Arley grants already.
I guess my question is, rather than messing with the Arley grant and reallocating, isn't there something else that could go?
Now, we've kind of stretched our limit. The problem is that it's got to be, you got to catch it as it's got to be safety related, and it has to be within the project limits. So there's not much more we can do on this project.
How do we reallocate Arley grant money for
You
something
ask,
else?
you ask. we have an Arlie grant, we've been awarded a grant.
Yep.
When that comes to, and that
Do
we get
X.
our agreement,
Do X.
correct, and when we get it, we will say to PennDOT, we've done this, can we rescope? And they've done that in the past. I've done it on successful on other projects.
Okay.
So we can do more with our grant money,
Okay.
okay?
Yep.
So,
Well, I'll make that motion that we accept the supplemental letter from Pannoni, if that's the proper terminology, for the $46,706.20.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do you need a separate motion for the 4,000, or is that?
yeah, I need two more. The
It's been
$4,000,
enjoyable tonight.
All right, go ahead.
the only caveat, well, I should apologize, the only caveat to the flashing warning device is that we need to pay for the engineering. Okay? And the proposal from the memo dated February 14th from Matt Johnson to me is for the cost to design the flashing warning device. And right now, it's at $4,000. So we have to pay for the engineering for that and
Township
permitting.
needs to pay for that.
Correct.
Okay.
That's our expense.
That is our expense.
So we cannot recover it from the Arlie half of this
No.
down the road.
Correct.
Well,
I'll make a motion to
Go ahead.
approve the 4,000
I'll
for
second
the
Ken's motion.
Pannoni.
Any questions further? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, because you approve that, attached is,
Come on.
we need a resolution from the board to construct the application for traffic signal approval for the flashing warning device. It's a PennDOT form. We just have to do it by resolution, so it's just, I need a motion and approval.
Authorize the
and-
execution of the resolution.
Correct. And
All
we
right.
then have to sign the
I'll
document.
make that motion to authorize the resolution.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I guess that would be me, right? All right. Are you
And,
done?
Item 4 is the municipal complex update, but
We're not gonna do
I don't
that
have any
now.
presentations.
We're not
I'm
doing
just-
that now.
I don't have any presentations.
That's
It's
right.
just a line item, so
Right.
I don't have anything anyway.
We saw it online anyway.
Thank
Um,
Can you shut the air off?
Excuse me, we have a young gentleman in the audience that's wearing a Boy Scout uniform,
Cub Scouting.
a Cub Scout
Scout,
uniform?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, you look like a Boy Scout.
Small.
Would you come up here and, maybe come up here and tell us who you are and why you're here? And who you are and why you're here.
Why you
Tell the truth.
Come over here so we can see you.
pull through the window?
Here. There we go. There you go. Who are you?
Hello, my name is Josh, and I'm here for a Cub Scout thing that I apparently missed because I was at the beach. And I'm just,
Okay. Was the beach nice?
yes,
Was it, so it was good, right?
yeah.
So you're here for a...
So I'm here for making up.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it's for a badge or not, though. To learn about Congress
And your local
and
government.
government.
This is kind of how Congress works,
Hmm.
like we're doing now. And we're a lot better than Congress.
Very efficient.
But we're a lot more efficient than Congress. Yeah, well,
Prove he was here.
Yes.
Josh?
Yes.
So you're going to get a badge for this?
Probably. I live on 78 Springdale Road.
Oh, so you live in Dawson Township?
Mm-hmm.
And you live in Coots, or you in Lenape?
No.
Where do you go
School.
to, where's your school?
Oh, St. Joseph, St. Robert's.
Okay, all right, that's okay. Well, welcome. Thank you for being
Thanks.
here.
You're welcome.
We really appreciate your attendance, and I hope you learn a lot about local government. Okay?
Okay.
Come back anytime.
Okay.
Good job.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks, Josh's dad.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you had to wait through that, but I think you learned a lot of important things about contracts. right?
Yeah.
All right. We did, all right, where are we? Manager.
Manager.
Thank you.
I just have some good news to share. The township, and I know the board already knows, received another $985,000 in a transportation alternative set aside for Shady Retreat Road Trail. And that was announced by the governor some time ago. And the second thing I have, as you know, we have a DCNR grant which we're sharing with Doylestown Borough. It's a joint project to study the Turk Road Trail feasibility study. Mr. Colello was at the last bike and hike meeting where we talked about forming a little subcommittee that would do the trail feasibility study. We have a number of people from the borough as well as the township and the township borough team. We're working to kick off a meeting with property owners in July, later in July at the library. Just like the board's confirmation on the appointment of these residents from both the borough and the township, since we're the lead agency for formation of this committee.
From Doylestown Borough, they are Lynn Goldman, Dick Patterson, Liz Wyckoff, and Al Crack. And then from Doylestown Township, Tom Kelso, Keith Fenimore, Roger Clark, Larry Gage, Katie Mayo, and then a representative from Doylestown Country Club.
Right.
Yet to be named. And then regular consultants and people like that. Is there a motion to approve these folks to this committee?
I'll move to approve.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, staff. That's July 24th
Can I
at the
ask one
library.
question? I have one question about the Shady Retreat Trail, the 985. How much is the township obligation to that?
We will be required to do the engineering and design work as we have in the past, and I don't have a proposal yet.
So will that be in the 2019
Yes,
budget? Okay.
probably 19 and 20
Okay.
is my guess.
wanna make sure we-
We'll be able
yep,
to stretch it
perfect.
over a couple of years.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Turk
I have
Road
nothing,
Trail, you did that one?
I have nothing else at this time.
Okay. Supervisors, Ken, you want to kick it off?
Sure. In your packet was we've identified as the resident feedback strategy. And if you remember back to September of last year, I came forward with an idea that how do we reach out to residents and get better communication from them and feedback from them. So what we've done more recently since January is working with Judy and Stephanie and myself, and we've put together this thoughts that you see in front of you, which is just a draft document, obviously, but it kind of evolved from, because what the initial thought was, how do we communicate better? Well, we thought, well, we need more than that. What we should be doing is putting a process in place that says, how do we collect resident feedback? What is the strategy for doing that? And that was the intent behind this document. And how we communicate would be one use of this strategy, and then that use could be used by any other committee, from Park and Recs to Water to Sewer to any other committee that wants to do it. And the intent is to keep all this information together so each of those committees can learn how well and what types of questions other committees have asked, and make sure we have a way of managing all this feedback information. So the intent here is to develop the strategy, and then the first use of it would be to send a survey specific to communications. And the intent here is to keep our surveys short, as you might have read in there, and really emphasize that we want to do more of a push strategy of information versus a pull strategy, and keep these surveys to very 2 to 3 minutes. And this one is like 10 questions. So we want to make it as easy as possible on the residents to provide feedback. And then each of the committees, I mean, we could, the intent is we don't always go back to the same residents. We could pick and choose, from just from our database, we're going to send these other different group of residents, so we're not always hitting the same residents. And we can include these, the idea is we could use the newsletter for feedback, we could use SurveyMonkey, and there's other different mechanisms we use to collect it. But why this is coming forward today is to just approve the strategy, and this is how we want to move forward to make sure we're getting, trying to make sure that we're collecting feedback from residents as the best we can, to make sure we're incorporating that into how we move forward with any of our programs.
Okay. Thoughts?
I just had one question. Do you have an estimate of, you're going to send us 6,000, residents. So do you have an estimate of what the cost? We just beat Dave up for $4,000, so I'm just trying to get my head around what.
Well, we haven't specifically talked about that. What this is about is to approve the force to go to the next step. I said we would come back, and with this, we will look at how many we need to, what our sample size should be, and we'll come back forward with that. But I just wanted to make sure you were aware of what we were doing before we went forward to any next step. That's really what the intent
Is
is.
this all volunteer time or using staff time, and have you assessed that cost as well?
Well, the staff time up to now has been Judy and Stephanie. That was what the staff time has been. So, but has that been factored into here? Not at this time.
And then the
yes.
administration of it.
Well, yes, and that's why we want to make sure we're looking at the sample sizes and automating as much as possible, because the intent is to reduce or minimize. We can't reduce it, but we want to minimize staff time and staff dependency, and how do we make this as efficient as we possibly can.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I just look at this, what we do already, and where all the information that we have out there on all the different vehicles we have out there, even the, how do you find out about township? I mean, you have A through N where folks can get information about Doylestown Township. And what you're looking for then is their feedback
Yeah.
for how we can better communicate.
Correct.
Even though there's A through 10 or A through N.
But
ways
which
of
ones are the
communicating.
most effective? That's
Okay.
what we're trying to identify. How do people want to be communicated with?
All right.
And I don't think we
I
know
like-
that.
All right, every time we do, I like these ideas, I really do, but they all cost money. I mean,
We'll come back with the cost, because I don't think it's going to be that much.
Well, I mean,
It's going to be something, yes.
somebody has to do it here in the
Oh,
township.
I agree.
We're-
I agree.
We're creating more work for the staff. How much more?
I would
work?
suggest
I don't know.
the feedback, and if we work on it and we get more efficient, it won't cost you any more. Because every time, if
I'm
we,
just saying, every time we give them something to do, it costs money.
I think it's going to reduce work.
Okay.
If you find a way to
Sure,
communicate
how?
better to the residents, Stephanie will receive less phone calls. Everybody will receive less phone calls.
All right.
You're going to get less questions.
Less questions, less phone calls.
It's time.
All right.
But it's the same time.
Okay. Well, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think you got an okay to go through, right?
Yeah,
Move
absolutely.
forward,
Yeah, no
go
problem.
forward with this?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anything else, Ken?
Two other things. Just wanted to reemphasize, you already mentioned it, but I think it's important to keep this budget workshop in front of the residents if they want to see what happens financially within the township. These are perfect opportunities for people to come and see, so I encourage people to do it. The other one, and we've had it it was in our packet today. We've talked about this several times in various meetings. It was in our PSATs today about volunteer firemen and what the issues are. So my question is, have we done enough to inform our residents about how severe this problem is? And I'm just saying, because the alternative is, they're not volunteer anymore. One alternative is. So we don't know where this is going, but should we be informing the residents of how significant this issue is? And I just don't know if we've done enough. If you say we've done enough, that'd be your opinion, but I don't know if we've done enough.
Can I make
You want to talk about potato?
Well, I think through Cato, but also, tomorrow night is the Firehouse
Dinner.
annual dinner.
Yep.
And, I think this is something we need to work with Doylestown Borough,
Yep.
Chalfont, Warrington, et cetera. I mean, Bicato's a perfect, I mean, they've
Agreed.
definitely been
Agreed.
talking about it. And we've putting information out there. And I think working with the volunteer fire departments as well is very, very important. But, I
Yes.
mean, the statistics and the information regarding the volunteerism in the fire service has declined significantly in the last 30 years. And, we're seeing that in the funding that we're providing now, the overnight service that they're providing, getting the volunteers out. Many of the other municipalities have gone to some paid service, supplemental to their volunteer service. So it is an issue, and, I mean, obviously, one we want to continue to make sure that we share. I would like certainly the I know Doylestown Fire Company has made requests for volunteers, and they put articles in our newsletter, and would continue to offer them that opportunity.
Yeah. I guess my intent is, I just want to minimize, I'm thinking worst case. It's no longer volunteer, they're paid firemen. I just don't want to surprise, I want to minimize
Well, some of
the
it is-
surprise on
yeah.
residents of the impact of a tax increase because we have to have paid firemen, that's all. How do we alert them and make sure they're informed?
My observation, the general public doesn't know.
Right.
No, that's true. But on the Decatur Executive Committee is working on how the best to fund this.
I agree.
Not just, through local government, through state and.
Yeah,
and-
yeah, I agree, there's a lot of work
There's a
going on.
lot going on.
Yes, I agree with that.
And we do have a volunteer fire department. There's no way around that. And
Right.
at some point, it's not going to be volunteer anymore.
Right.
It's not overnight, but I think everybody realizes that. But do they realize that they might have to be paying for it? I'm not going to do that until I know we have to be paying for it.
I guess I would share that maybe we should be informing them of a potential problem
How would you
versus
like to do that?
in a newsletter, an article in the newsletter,
Okay.
as a start.
Okay.
That would be one
Any
easy start.
statistics?
Yeah,
You want to write it?
sure,
Okay.
Yeah.
Then let's do that.
yeah, that's great.
That's good, thanks. What's our next deadline? You know,
August
August 20th.
August 10th.
August
I know that. I know that, that's my deadline, August 10th. So if you can get it done by then, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
And Angela Benner from the Picato, the executive director of Picato, she probably could update you of what's going on with.
That'd be great.
All right, Ken, anything else?
No, that's it, thank you.
Excellent, thank you so much. Rick?
I have several things, and I guess my first question is, I'm not sure what the curfew laws are, Chief, because I don't want to be here holding Josh up too late, and I don't want him getting in trouble, but,
Josh, you can leave whenever you want. This is a longer meeting than normal, so you have a pass if you have to go home and do your homework. Oh, I gave you an out, you should have taken it.
You should have homework.
Had to be done before you left.
Oh, okay.
All right, well, all right.
well, I'll be as brief as I can. It's been a busy month. Now, I've been very busy. I've been at 4 or 5 meetings since the last board meeting. But the first thing I want to do is, excuse me, is I want to recommend Rod Stone to become a member of DTMA. He's on the Public Water and Sewer Authority. We interviewed him a couple of months ago, and the opening on the DTMA, which, as you probably know, kind of dovetails and fits in with the Public Water and Sewer Authority meeting, and it's a good complement to each one. So I'd like to recommend that we approve Rod Stone as a member of the DTMA.
I'll second that. Any consideration, conversation, comments?
No.
No? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
All right.
Speaking of DTMA, as you know, consistently we get asked in the Pebble Ridge project from the residents, what water going to be available? And some of the residents even come to the DTMA meeting and ask, are we going to get water, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You received, and I hope you've had a chance to look it over, although, I echo with some of the other comments about getting all this stuff the night of a meeting can be very difficult. Even getting emails the day of the meeting is difficult and to go through. Anyhow, the survey from the DTMA that you have was sent out, and we're trying to establish what interest there is in providing water, and the cost is estimated. It's probably the high end. It is the high end of $17,000 per resident. Enough residents have to join in, if you will, or become partners to it in order to make this successful. So we're trying to get ascertain if there's an interest in public water in this area. We'll let you know the results probably in about a month or two. And then the Planning Commission, we've had several meetings since the last board meeting to hammer out the details of the ordinance that, with Toll Brothers, that is based on the board's direction last year on how to craft an ordinance to make this the best situation for the township. And Jeff, Judy, Stephanie, the staff, the planning commission, and Toll Brothers side, obviously, too, have been hammering this out, and I expect we'll have an ordinance at the next meeting for the board to look at and advertise and comment on. I'd like to mention, as I always do, how important it is, going back to what Ken says about getting feedback from our residents. So it's really heartening when we get an email or a letter from a resident. It takes time to write these things, and people just brush it off. But I just wanted to let Mr. Maxwell and anyone else that sends stuff in, it does go in our packet. We do read it. We take it for what it's worth and do our own homework after that. So it's not like any emails or letters that are sent to the township go in the round. That's not the case. We get it every 2 weeks in our packet, and hopefully read it. There, thank you, and I'll mention your name. And the other thing that letter that you got was the sewer in Pebble Ridge. The letter's going out to each homeowner. They're going to attempt to start the project end of July, beginning of August, which, as we know, means probably middle to end of August. A timeline has been established, and when the project starts, there will be weekly updates. And these updates and schedules will be on our township website, and this is all documented in a letter. Again, you just got the letter today, but that's what is going out tomorrow, I think, to the residents. So this way, they'll be up to date weekly on what's going on in Pebble Ridge. And that's all I have. I'm sure Jen will fill in the rest of the time.
All right, Jen, what do you got?
Just a couple comments. Parks and Rec is slated to come in at the next meeting to discuss the building, the Park and Rec facility. So I'll leave that for them for next meeting. But on June 1st, I had my first school safety meeting with some of the residents, and I thought I'd bring a little bit to the board on what I found out when it comes to what our public school system's doing. One of the first things that they're doing is they hired a company to do a study on all the different schools to make sure that they found any weak points and give their recommendations on how to make the school more secure. They also just put in kiosks in front of each of the schools where you put in your driver's license, and it does an instant background check on you, and then gives you a pass that's actually time-stamped, so it will expire. And then you gain entry to the school. They've also updated cameras, so they're better cameras, so the people behind the desk that buzz you in can actually see you rather than some grainy picture. They've received or purchased medical kits for all of the schools that are on wheels, so that if there is an incident, the school medical care provider can go to the scene rather than bring the student or teacher to them. And I think that's all of the items that I have right now. And we also discussed in our meeting the Sandy Hook Promise programs, which are more to educate people, students, on how to be more inclusive. It educates the adults on how to identify children in crisis and what to do. They have an app that offers anonymous tips that goes to a call center and gets rerouted to whatever our police department or school district wants, where they want that to go. And these are all free programs, and we discussed that at length. And I'm looking forward to having another meeting in July. We just haven't scheduled it yet.
Good. That security system, eventually that's going to be in every Central Bucks elementary, middle school, high school
As far as I know, yesterday was the first day that they had them in every school.
They're already in.
That's my understanding.
Impressive.
After school starts, there's a central vestibule that all visitors must go through. So it's kind of, you go through the first door, then you're locked in, you have to get buzzed in. And inside there is where they have the kiosk, we call it, where you have to swipe your driver's license and get an ID.
Very, very good.
Yeah, and quick.
Very quick. Yep.
Quick.
Okay.
And it also gives you a cue in Spanish, too, for some of our English as second language
Yeah.
kids.
You'll notice Ryan Manning's not here. She was accepted as a leader scholar at the George Bush Institute in Dallas, Texas, and it's a 6-month scholarship program, and she is, tonight is her first, class, I suspect. It's 6 months, and this is the only meeting she'll miss for this, but it's a great honor. Proud of her. We have an applicant to our Bicentennial Committee, and I wish to put his name forward and ask you guys to approve him, Christopher Madish. He's currently employed by the Central Bucks School District, working through K through high school. He's a vexicologist, a flag expert. Took me a long time to say that. Vexicologist. He's, yeah, and we're doing a flag contest, which ended, but we've gotten in a few, quite a few.
Quite a few.
Quite a number of flags to choose from. But anyway, Christopher Madish, he's been to our meetings. He tried to vote last meeting, and somebody said, well, you can't vote, you're not a member. He's just been attending. So we'd like to make him a member. He's asked to be a member, and so I'll move that he become a member, and looking for a second.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or considerations about Christopher? All in favor?
Aye.
I'm so happy. Okay, that's something, well, I could say more, but you don't want to, oh, well. Thank you to our special counsel and everybody else. Our Penvest loan went to settlement this morning. I know I was in my office at 7:30 signing documents. So, yay.
Yes, yay.
It was long and taxing, but we made it, and so we've got almost $9 million for the sewer project. Yay. All right, moving on. Unfinished business, we don't have any. We have an Eagle Scout proclamation, young Josh, this is you in a few years, for Alex Oates from Boy Scout Troop number 71. He's getting his Eagle, and he's having a court of honor on June 9th. And it's very exciting, so we're going to issue a proclamation in his honor. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Thank you. Is there a
Second.
second? All in favor
Aye.
of the motion to proclaim Alex Oates and his Eagle Scout Court of Honor on June 9th? Big honor. Took him a long
Yes.
time to get there.
Any Eagle Scout, I mean, that's,
Any Eagle Scout.
That's
You know
great.
what? You become an Eagle Scout, that follows you like a big eagle for the rest of your life.
no.
Yeah, it's a real honor. And they didn't have it for girls, otherwise I would have been an Eagle
Mm-hmm.
Scout. Yep, only guys. All right.
All in favor? Yeah,
Not anymore.
All in favor?
Not anymore. Aye.
All right. All right, next item on the agenda is land development agreement for the Quinlan
It's
subdivision.
an 8-lot subdivision. Board previously approved the subdivision. Development agreement reflects the approval. Staff will recommend the board approve it.
Okay, well, that was quick.
We got a vote and a motion and a second.
Is there a motion to approve it?
I make the motion to approve. I just had one question with what we received today.
Okay.
It was, the best I could do, going line by line, was the only thing that changed was what was corrected on the original one we got about Penn Community Bank. Is
Correct.
that
And
correct?
also, there was a minor change that Mario wanted in the escrow, and also putting the last revision date in. They were the only 3 changes.
That's fine.
Okay.
Not substantive whatsoever. All right, there's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any other questions, comments? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
And the next is the same thing with respect to the CB West. Oh,
Please do, you have to take the podium and introduce yourself.
Mike Amoroso, here on behalf of Better Living Homes. When do the documents need to be picked up then after your signing of them and
they'll be
recorded?
dispersed by the township staff
Okay.
to all the players.
When would that be?
next couple of days.
Okay. Have we received notification?
Yeah, you'll get,
Yeah.
there'll be a letter sent with attached copy.
Yeah, we give it to you tonight, but they have to make copies and stuff like that. But we'll be signing them tonight. Yes, you're welcome.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The next
Good
has,
luck with your project.
the next is the same thing with respect to the Central Bucks West Athletic Fields.
You're welcome, sir. Is there a motion to approve the Central Bucks Athletic
Development agreement.
Development Agreement?
Move to approve.
Second.
What I have here, oh, this looks like an original.
Well, yeah, well, that's,
All right, just saying.
yeah.
All right, there's a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Doesn't that look like an original? Treasurer's report from June 5th, 2018. Is there a motion to approve?
I make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Bills list for May 17th, 2018.
I make a motion for approval with the explanation that you'll see a reimbursement to me of $184.31. It was because I went to PSATs, and trust me, it's a good bill.
All right. Is there a motion to?
I made the
okay, so
motion.
you made the motion? Is there a second? Was that
I'll second it.
identifying item? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next meeting is June 19th at 5 o'clock. We're going to have our budget work session, June 19th at 3 o'clock. Pension Advisory Committee is meeting on Monday, June 11th at 4 o'clock. Everything's here. There's bicentennial memorabilia for sale. Very important notice. If you couldn't make the June 4th golf outing, guess what? It's now on August 20th because the course was too saturated, so we couldn't have our golf outing. So, rain date, August 20th, we all want you to play, and that's the same time. It's a 8 a.m. registration, 9 a.m., what do you call it? Shotgun start.
Shotgun.
I hate that. I don't like using the word shotgun anymore. Anyway. Performing Arts Series, Fabulous Grease Band, best band in the world, local band in the world, I should say. Wednesday, June 20th at 7 o'clock at the Central Park Amphitheater. And then the rest of the stuff I don't need to go into. The July 14th event at the Oscar Hammerstein House at July 14th, 11:30 a.m. That's a bicentennial event, so do come. Do come. All right, we are adjourned, and there's stuff to sign.
Okay.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Good night,
everybody's
all.
patience.